In the last class, we have discussed about the birth of a mass organization at Bhuvanagiri Sabha. It's a mass movement, there is no organization as such. But now the gathering as a popular dissent means thousands of people gathering with the demand of separate Telangana is happening. Now, various forms of organizations are springing up, and that we'll be seeing in this class. So first, we'll be talking about Telangana Aikya Vedika. You know what is Aikyam? Means united platform. Vedika means platform. Telangana, a united platform was being built with different mass organizations for Telangana. And the background was, there was a seminar at OU, Usmania University, regional imbalances, developmental alternatives. In this seminar, which was held on 14th and 15th August 1997, people were talking about the regional imbalances and developmental alternatives. And Telangana is at its center. Regional imbalance. What is the regional imbalance in Telangana? United Andhra Pradesh is not a region, it's a state. And Telangana is separate from the other regions of Andhra Pradesh. So take the problems and imbalances in Telangana, and we are talking about Telangana. Professor Jayashankar, Professor P.L. Vishweshwar Rao, Professor Simhadri, Professor Akhileshwari, all these people who are active in academics, intellectuals, are the people who are organizing this meeting too. So, this Telangana Aikya Vedika provided a platform for the political activists or Telangana activists to come together, and this platform, Telangana Aikya Vedika, was being formed. This idea of Telangana Aikya Vedika was mooted by the people like Maroju Veeranna, a person who was with a Naxalite group, CPIML Janashakti, coming out of that, and he started Communist Party of United States of India, Dalit Bahujana concept. So, this man was behind the idea for mobilizing the people from different areas. Like V. Prakash, presently he is the chairman of Water Resources Development Corporation of Telangana, Ananda Bhaskar, all these people came onto one platform. But the original idea of having such a platform was mooted by Maroju Veeranna also. So, important people who played the role, we can talk about at Telangana Aikya Vedika in the seminar. Again, Professor Jayashankar, Keshavrao Jadhav, Veeranna, Ananda Bhaskar, Satyanarayana, Sangamreddy Satyanarayana, Konda Lakshmana Papuji, all these people were active in bringing all these people together. And this Telangana Aikya Vedika had two wings, that is two tier body. One is organizing committee, second was the steering committee. This 11-member steering committee means all the organizations, the 28 organizations, different organizations were part of this joint platform. Like our JAC, if we see the latest political JAC, last political JAC, which was steering the whole movement, that political JAC had many organizations. Organizations come together as a joint action committee. Like that, this Telangana Aikya Vedika is also a joint platform where 28 organizations were there. And every organization will be represented as a member. And that is the first committee, which is known as organizing committee. But steering committee will be some people, select people, so that they can meet and take decisions to spearhead the movement, whole movement. So 11-member steering committee was there with Jayashankar at its center, Keshavrao Jadhav, and 9 more members. So they have decided to take up the agitation, and they have decided to take the whole movements into different orientation, means mass orientation, propaganda orientation, and creating the consciousness. All these things they have taken. So they have started a magazine which is known as Telangana. Aikya Vedika magazine is Telangana, and a rally was organized on 1st November. 1st November is a black day for Telangana. It's because 1956, 1st November, you have Andhra Pradesh. So that is a black day forever for Telangana till the new state of Telangana was formed. So 1st November, there was a huge rally from Nizam College to Secunderabad Clock Tower. In Hyderabad, this is the first rally after a long time. After 1969 movement, there was no big rally for Telangana movement in Hyderabad. And this was supposed to be the big rally. If we consider the rallies, this is one of the biggest rally after the break, after the lull, after the silence happening in Hyderabad. So, they have continued the activities till 2000. Telangana Aikya Vedika was active till 2000. 1997, it is formed, August. Until 2000, it was continuing activity. But in the last part of this latter stage, what is happening? Many of the activists who were part of Telangana Aikya Vedika were gradually involving in other political parties too. Like that, these people were active in political parties like V. Prakash or some people like Tula Rajendra or our Rapulu Ananda Bhaskar. Everyone has their own organization because it's a joint front, it's a platform. So every organization's agenda was important for them. So gradually, the activities got lessened in Telangana Aikya Vedika, and more people from Telangana Aikya Vedika were identified with or joining or supporting from outside TRS, and TRS, after the formation of TRS, Telangana Aikya Vedika's activities were completely gone or stopped. So, Jaladrishyam was the place where Aikya Vedika started performing. Konda Lakshman Bapuji, as I said, he was active in this meeting, Telangana Aikya Vedika formation, and he asked the people to take his residence as the official center or office for Telangana Aikya Vedika. Means his residence became the office. Later, when Telangana Aikya Vedika is becoming inactive and TRS is forming, Jaladrishyam is the center for TRS in the beginning. So, the beginnings of TRS started on the banks of Hussain Sagar. Jaladrishyam is on the banks of Hussain Sagar. So, what were the activities taken by Telangana Aikya Vedika? Telangana Aikya Vedika did propaganda and agitation and sometimes charitable activities. Charitable activities to supplement to the needs of the people at times of distress. Means cholera, malaria and such things are there in tribal areas or rural areas. They collected funds and tried to provide some relief to the people. And agitations or demands for Telangana are the demands related to these famines or the disasters which are recurring in Telangana. So, they have conducted propaganda, they have conducted agitations, they have conducted charitable activities. This was the basic scope of Telangana Aikya Vedika. But what is the most crucial aspect of Telangana Aikya Vedika is, Telangana Aikya Vedika intervene into the political parties' activities and make them pro-Telangana. Like they were in the forefront in organizing the Congress MLAs, Telangana Congress MLAs into a signature campaign. 41 MLAs signed for Telangana and gave this memorandum to Sonia Gandhi. It means they are creating a opinion not only in the masses but into the political parties too. So that is how Telangana Aikya Vedika's success is creating the political aspect or political a space in the political parties also, like Congress, they have created. And Janardhan Reddy, Chinna Reddy, all these people were in the forefront of talking about Telangana in those days. So, in August, they have submitted an important memorandum to Sonia Gandhi when she was in Hyderabad. So, campaign for Telangana inside the Telangana Congress. Second thing is, they interacted with Chandrasekhar Rao, K. Chandrasekhar Rao, popular leader, KCR of Telangana. So, KCR was in TDP and gradually becoming distant from TDP politics, and he was having dissent on the affairs of TDP or the rules of TDP or the activities of TDP which is suppressing Telangana. So, the interaction with Telangana Aikya Vedika and KCR, and definitely it is mutually beneficial. KCR is getting much and much knowledge about Telangana activities, what is happening in Telangana, because he was into TDP and these people interacted, and finally KCR came out of TDP and started TRS with this interaction. The people who are into Aikya Vedika like Jaishankar or V. Prakash, all these people were in touch or with interaction with KCR. So this is about Telangana Aikya Vedika. This is one important organization platform which created scope for Telangana. Next is Telangana Maha Sabha. Telangana Maha Sabha is another organization which started as part of the whole movement. This post-1990s. There is a growth of different types of movements. The movements are for the identity movements. We call it as identity movements, caste movements. So at this point of time, inside the communist, inside the Naxalite group, one of the Naxalite group, that is Jan Shakti, there was a debate. And Maroju Veeranna was spearheading that debate, and his concept of Dalitha Bahujana concept. Even in country like India, it should be a Dalit Bahujan orientation, because this is a Brahmanical state. That was his argument. So Maroju Veeranna's Dalita Bahujana concept was carried into Telangana aspect too. So Dalita Bahujana Praja Rajyam should be the aim of Telangana movement. So when he speaks about Dalita Bahujana concept, this is ideological. That's what I said. This movement, this phase has ideological moorings, ideological basis. So this is one such. The concept of Dalit Bahujan concept brought by Maroju Veeranna is shaping up some of the organizations. In 1997, on 11th August, at Suryapet, Mahbubnagar Sabha is happening in March. March, April, May, June, July, August. You can see 5 months gap. In this 5 months gap, what is happening? Telangana repression is growing. Gaddar was shot at, and the government is trying to pacify the movement or threaten the consciousness of Telangana people or the movements for Telangana people by showing such repression. We will not spare if you speak for Telangana also. Gaddar's meeting and in Bhuvanagiri, and just 1 month after he was shot at. So even Bhuvanagiri meeting, people were not allowed to come. At least on the outskirts of the town itself, or away 10 to 15 kilometers away, thousands of people were stopped from entering into Bhuvanagiri. And these people trekked different paths, and they came from outskirts of the village, all fields, hillocks, and reached Bhuvanagiri in spite of the repression. To break this threat by the state, on 11th August 1997, a meeting was conducted at Suryapet known as Dokha, dinna, Telangana. Organizers were Dr. Cheruku, Sudhakar, V. Prakash, who was President and Secretary of this Maha Sabha in the latter phase. V. Prakash, as we talked about, who was active in Telangana movement for the entire period. And Dr. Cheruku Sudhakar, a prominent doctor from Nakrekal, Nalgonda district. And these people were influenced by Maroju Veeranna. So automatically when Maroju Veeranna presented this concept of Dalita Bahujana Praja Rajyam, these people were in the forefront of taking up this activity. This Telangana Maha Sabha was organized in Suryapet, and thousands attended this meeting. Dokha, dinna, Telangana is the title, I repeat. Professor Jaishankar, you know who is Professor Jaishankar. Naram Krishna Rao, an expert on water issues. B. Janardhan Rao, expert on tribal issues. Kancha Ailaya, expert social activist. He talks about the caste issue at length. So Innaya and many others spoke in this Telangana Maha Sabha. Then Telangana Maha Sabha came out with a declaration with 16 points. What do you mean by declaration? Means these are the resolutions made in this Sabha, made in this public meeting. So they demanded a white paper to be published on expenditure spent on Telangana and Andhra, so that we can know how the surplus is being usurped or taken away by Andhra ruling class from Telangana. They were demanding to abolish Polavaram, Pulichintala, because these two projects are detrimental to the identity of Telangana, resources of Telangana. So they were demanding to abolish Polavaram and Pulichintala. And land to the landless. As I said, any class or nation will demand it first, because landlessness should be controlled, should be completely avoided. We should give land to the people who can till. Landlessness is feudal concept. Landless peasantry working in landlords, or the state is becoming a landlord with lakhs of land with them and people without land. So this is the concept of land distribution. Then forest rights for tribals, and encounters in Telangana, as I said, severe repression. Then anti-privatization, reservations for Telangana people in education, employment, and minority rights, and language issue. All these things were incorporated in the 16-point Suryapet declaration. You can be asked about this. Suryapet declaration, how many points? It is 16-point declaration. Warangal declaration, which we will be talking about, is 50-point declaration. So this is 16 points. Amidst repression, after the delegate session, a public meeting happened in Telangana Maha Sabha. And Telangana Maha Sabha has opened up another thing, that is, as I said, the Dalit Bahujana concept. They have what you call encouraged for the development of different organizations, caste organizations, for example, or tribal organizations. For example, Lambada Hakkula Porata Samiti, LHPS, or Nangara Bheri. This is, we talk about Nangada Bheri, or Lambada Hakkula Porata Samiti, started during this period. Adivasi Hakkula Porata Samiti, that is Tudum Debba, started during this period. Gollakurma Debba, Dol Debba. Gollakurma, Dol Debba. Means Gollakurma means the people who are engaged in pastoralism, the rearing of sheep, goat, these people. So, Dol Debba is the name of the organization of Gollakurmas. Moku Debba, Moku is the thing which you tie when you climb a toddy tree. So, Govts or toddy typing community were organized under Moku Debba. Thus, Telangana Maha Sabha has made Telangana issue, plus at the same time in the society they have organized the sections, different sections of deprived classes or castes into organization. So, Telangana Maha Sabha has demanded many other things like Thandas should be declared as Gram Panchayats, government measures against cholera, malaria and many diseases in Adivasi areas, pollution by Natco company in Kottur Industrial area in Mahbubnagar. This is different. I am talking about Telangana Maha Sabha demands. Demand means it is not declaration. Declaration I have already discussed. Telangana Maha Sabha in the future, after this meeting, they have taken up all these demands. That is what I am talking about. They have taken up all these demands. That is what I have read till now. That is Thandas, Lambada Thandas should be declared as Gram Panchayats. Government measures against the diseases, provide medical relief and prevent it. Then pollution by one company known as Natco in Kottur Industrial area in Mahbubnagar, fighting against this. Then implementation of 1 of 70 Act, tribal I talked about. Then check dams in villages, all these things were demanded by Telangana Maha Sabha. So, after Bhuvanagiri meeting, we discussed about Telangana Maha Sabha. Bhuvanagiri, a huge meeting. The next is Suryapet. When we come to Suryapet in the month of August, we have a huge meeting with declaration. That is Suryapet declaration. And we have the beginnings from Bhuvanagiri and now it is continuing. Come to Warangal declaration. The next topic is Warangal declaration. See, I said this is ideological based movements or the organizations or the efforts happening here. What is the background of this Warangal declaration? Warangal declaration, before talking about Warangal declaration, we have to talk about the Naxalite parties in Telangana which supported Telangana issue. From the beginning, since 1967-68 or early 70s, in Telangana, when the Telangana movement was there, in 1969 movement, Naxalite or Naxalbari politics started in this region and Naxalbari struggle broke and you have the impact of Naxalbari in Telangana too. And Naxalite parties and only few parties supported Telangana issue. And we call latter period People's War, CPML People's War, or today we call it as CPI Maoist. These people were the people who were supporting Telangana cause from day one until date. So, Maoists were supporting or Naxalbari politics were supporting in 1970s. Then comes, as they support these things, their organizations like their student organization, Radical Students Union, organized a seminar in 1983, national seminar on nationality question, invited the people from different states who are fighting for statehood, who are fighting for their rights of their nationality. All these people came and presented the paper in Hyderabad. That is Madras, nationality question seminar. Then CPIML People's War issued a document on 1st June 1997. This is happening in this phase, in which phase we are standing and talking about. So 1st June 1997, CPML People's War came out with a document. The document was titled as Movement for Separate Telangana, Telangana Development, Our Program. So this meeting was a huge, this document was a document which is providing a theoretical basis for the movement for Telangana. Another aspect is there. Before 1 year, in 1996, at Delhi, there was a huge gathering. Not in terms of what you call numbers, but quality wise. There was an international seminar on nationalities. International seminar on nationalities in February 1996 in Delhi, organized by All India People's Resistance Forum. Now we'll talk about AIPRF, that is All India People's Resistance Forum, which organized a meeting in Delhi with a perspective of nationalities, liberation of nations or people. So AIPRF started activities in Delhi with the nationality struggle seminar, and here in Telangana, they came out with a huge meeting at Warangal, and they came out with a declaration for Telangana. That is why we call this as Warangal Declaration. So AIPRF organized the meeting at Warangal, that is 28th, 29th of 1997, December 28, 29, 1997. The meeting was organized at Hanmakonda, and the title of the meeting was Prajaswamika Telangana Akanksha. Prajaswamika Telangana Akanksha. Remember here, Prajaswamika Telangana. Prajaswamika means democratic Telangana. They are very clear that the state which has to be formed should be a democratic one, which has to reflect the aspirations of the sections of the people who are toilers, who are the depressed, who are the most oppressed sections of the society. So Prajaswamika Telangana Akanksha was the title of this meeting. And as you know, two parts, a hall meeting plus a public meeting. Again, this is happening under the severe repression. As we see, people like Professor Jayashankar, Varavar Rao was lecturer in Warangal, Varavar Rao, and by this time he was not in Warangal, but he was a lecturer in Warangal. So this Warangal declaration meeting was attended by intellectuals like Jayashankar, Varavar Rao, Professor B. Janardhan Rao, Professor Sitaramma Rao, Kakatiya University, Professor Sitaramma Rao. So they spoke at length about the perspective of Telangana from this angle, that is Prajaswamika Akanksha, that is democratic aspiration. Gaddar performed after a few months, means he was shot at in April, again in December he is performing, leaving a bullet inside his body. Still the bullet is there lying in his spine. It cannot be removed. So Gaddar performed again after a break, after the attempt on his life. So lastly, a few points, that is AIPRF Secretary G.N. Sai Baba, who is incarcerated now in Nagpur jail. G.N. Sai Baba, the Secretary of AIPRF, proposed a 50-point declaration. This 50-point declaration is nothing but the demands of Telangana with different perspectives. Like Suryapet declaration I have talked about. This 50-point declaration has incorporated all the issues of Telangana. So by this way, the meeting or the Warangal declaration is one such important event that class conscious organizations are coming into the movement with a bang, and clearly they are saying these are the demands of Telangana. That is why Warangal declaration is important. And people attended the public meeting, though at least 1 lakh people were not allowed to enter Warangal by the police. On the outskirts, they will stop all the vehicles, so you can't enter the city. So you have to take some way which is not the main one and enter Warangal. So they have stopped at least 1 lakh people not to attend this meeting. So how severe the repression was, you can understand. So this is Warangal Declaration. What is the importance of Warangal Declaration? Warangal Declaration is the ideological cut point of one political stream which is talking about Telangana. Unconditionally, Telangana was supported unconditionally by this Naxalite group or Naxalite wing of CPIML, that is CPIML People's War. So after this, after 3 months, Telangana Jana Sabha was organized. Telangana Jana Sabha, another formation. Warangal Declaration is not a meeting. It's not an association, not an organization, but Telangana Jana Sabha is an organization. Warangal Declaration was organized by AIPRF, which is having its different perspective. It will not talk only about Telangana, it has a bigger agenda. So you need an organization which is for Telangana. So Telangana Jana Sabha was organized. This Telangana Jana Sabha was a continuation of the efforts of APRF. On 5th to 6th July 1998, Hyderabad, Telangana Jana Sabha meeting was organized. A paper, that is Telangana and Perspective, was presented by Bhumaya itself. Means how we visualize Telangana. So they gave a call for struggle. They said we can achieve Telangana only through struggle, not by lobbying or discussing with parliament or electing more MLAs. They did not have faith on elections. They are saying that if we enter into election politics only, then you will dilute the content of the movement. So they were for relentless struggle for Telangana. So Akula Bhumaya, a teacher, government teacher, an intellectual for Telangana, was a main organizer. And this Telangana Jana Sabha meeting was inaugurated by M.T. Khan, a prominent journalist in Hyderabad. He worked in English press. M.T. Khan, a Paidaishi Hyderabad, means a person who is born and brought up in Hyderabad, original Hyderabadi. Stays, his house was just besides Purana Pool. Like Purana Pool, his house is a symbol of the old city. M.T. Khan, a great intellectual, a great democrat, a revolutionary writer, and a journalist. M.T. Khan inaugurated this. A civil rights activist. He was the vice president of APCLC too. So he inaugurated Telangana Jana Sabha, and Kaloji inaugurated a bulletin which is Praja Telangana. This is the official bulletin of Telangana Jana Sabha. And as we see, Professor Jayashankar goes to every nook and corner of the state to support Telangana cause. So Professor Jayashankar, Keshav Rao Jadhav, P.L. Vishweshwara, all these people spoke. And the program of Telangana Jana Sabha was presented by Kanakachari. That is, program means how we are proceeding with the movement. And as I said, this is not just Telangana away or isolated from the events of Indian conditions or national scenario. So TJ has tried to link up this Telangana movement with the other statehood movements or nationality movements. So by this process, what they are doing is, Yasin Malik of Hurriyat Conference, Khagen Talukdar of Assam Manav Adhikar Sangram Samiti, this is a civil rights organization, and Hurriyat Conference is a political body of Kashmir. These people attended and expressed solidarity with Telangana. So thus they are polarizing the idea of Telangana among all the other groups which are fighting for the statehood too. And as an adjunct or an associate of this organization, Telangana Kala Samiti was formed, because this Kala Samiti will be performing and singing songs to create consciousness in Telangana. So Telangana Kala Samiti convener was Jahangir from Erstwhile Medak district, Jahirabad presently, that is Sangareddy district, and Belli Lalita, another prominent singer I talked about in Bhuvanagari meeting, she was also active in this meeting. So all these people organized Telangana Jana Sabha under the leadership of Akula Bhumaya. Akula Bhumaya was the convener of Telangana Jana Sabha in the next phase. So Akula Bhumaya, Telangana Jana Sabha, and continuation in the next phase we will be seeing he is with TP of Telangana Praja Front, Akula Bhumaya. So Akula Bhumaya, one of the great personality in Telangana movement, a teacher, a democrat, and an ardent Telangana fighter who was killed under mysterious circumstances, as the media reports say. So after this, we should conclude the topic today with some organizations. Let's talk about the other organizations which came into existence during the period. That is Telangana Students' Front, which was there already in 1992. Some Kishore Reddy and other leaders were there from Usman University who were active in this Telangana Student Front. But later it was revived in 1998 by a student leader known as Qasim. Presently he is a teacher in Usman University. Then Telangana Pragati Vedika of 1997, Rapolo Anand Bhaskar was started this organization. Rapolo Anand Bhaskar, an ex-MP of Rajya Sabha. So Telangana Pragati Vedika. Next, Center for Telangana Studies, that is started in OU 1997, under whose aegis or whose organization we had the seminar in Usman University, regional imbalances and all those things, which paved way for the Aikya Vedika formation also. So, Center for Telangana Studies is that organization. So, next is Telangana Jana Sangatana, formed, initiated by Janashakti group of Naxalite politics. And last under the list is Forum for Telangana Studies, was started by Gade Innaya and Pittala Sri Shailam. These two people were very staunch Telangana, as I said. So this is about the organizations. And to conclude, what is the generalizations of this period? First one is, movement for Telangana acquired a mass character. Second point, mass character means you can understand. It is not small group meeting or a room meeting now. It is a public meeting where thousands and lakhs of people are ready to come pour into the movement as masses, as mass participants. Second is, ideologically strong political formations took initiative to form organizations in this period. Like as I said, AIPRF, ideologically strong organization. And we can see Maroju Veeranna's ideology. Or Janashakti is organizing this Telangana Sangatana we talked about. So all these things, ideologically strong political organizations are trying to make out some mass organizations and spread the movement. That is the second character. Then third one, repression was the main character of this society. The state was so repressive. In spite of that, people gathered around the slogan of Telangana in spite of repression. That is very important because people are fearful and fearless at times. Fearful at times, but fearless many-wise. So here, people stood against the repression and organized under these organizations. And polarization was taking place during this period within the ideas, different types of ideas. That polarization is happening that we can see in this period. So, next point is, they have initiated a debate between the struggle and mass organizations and versus or inter alia, that is getting elected as MLAs and MPs and making a law in parliament. So the debate between the struggle and lobby, this phase we can witness. And many prominent intellectuals and university people are teachers or lecturers in the university, professors of university, took part actively in this phase of agitation. Many professors are coming forward. That is another important generalization of this period. And lastly, paving way for the next phase of movement. What do you mean by next phase of movement? Even this is not the last phase. In the next phase, we will see further formations and many other forms of struggles also. So this phase has paved way for the next phase of movement because this phase has brought in the people into streets. People are getting rallied under these organizations, are fighting for the rights, and they are pouring into the streets and taking processions and all these things. So this is this period which is very significant in the history of Telangana formation, as the growth of popular dissent is there, and to channelize this popular dissent, you have the mass organization. So this is the period where we had a huge dissent and new organizations are springing up.